Okay, and welcome to our final assignment for the year. This is our budgeting summative. We're going to take everything that we've done for the past quarter and put it all together and see, if we learned anything. So, you're going to need these completed assignments. We've been talking about it for a month now, but you're going to have to be able to look at your my budget. You're going to have to you're going to have to look at your my find an apartment, your car search, your car insurance, your grocery shopping, and the credit card bill that I have given you. So you're going to need all of these things in order to complete the summative, the final. So it looks like this. Okay, and we're just going to put all of these, we're just going to fill in anything that's yellow. Okay, anything that's yellow, we're going to be putting stuff in. Now, if you are doing this on paper, obviously, those are not yellow. You are going to have to fill these in, and then you are also going to have to do the math to figure out the difference, and you're going to have to make sure that your totals are the same. So if you do it on the computer, it's going to do the math for you, and I'll show you what that looks like. If you're doing it on a piece of paper, you're going to have to do all that math on your own. So keep that in mind when you're deciding how you want to do it. All right. All right. So the first thing on the summative is the career statement. So it's the first thing that is yellow on here. What is your chosen career? So we've been talking about this for a while. What is the thing that you decided that you wanted to be? So for me, I decided I wanted to be an interior designer. So I'm going to put interior designer in here. And as soon as I hit that and hit enter, that is no longer yellow. Okay. So that's how that works. All right. Now, I need to know my monthly income. That's the next part that's yellow. So the easiest way to do this is to go to your budget. Remember we did your budget where we had our estimated budget and then we adjusted it. And you should have put your monthly income right up here at the top. So mine was 3,238. So that's what I'm going to put right in here. 3,238. Okay. And if I hit enter, it's going to turn white, right? No more yellow. Okay. Now these first two columns, the estimated budget and the adjusted budget, is pretty much this information right here. Okay. So we're just going to take that information and we're going to plug it in right here. Okay. So, and as I put in each of these numbers, you will notice two things. Number one, they are turning from yellow to white. And the other thing that is happening is at the bottom here, it is totaling it all up for me. It's adding everything together for me. Okay, so that's why it's nice to be able to do this. Oops. On the computer. So let me just pop these numbers in here real quick. Oops. And then I'm going to go to the adjusted budget, which is the next. So that was, I just put in this column here. Now I'm going to take this column and put it in there. And unfortunately, because of these additional things that I have on here, you can't just copy and paste it. So sorry, you're gonna have to kind of do a little bit of stuff. But I just wrote mine down on a piece of separate piece of paper, and I'm just typing them in as I go along. All right. So, and again, as you can see, everything is turning from yellow to white, and it's adding it up down here at the bottom for me. So I don't have to think actually about much of anything while I do this, which is kind of nice. Okay. So now I have those two in. Now, we're going to look at what you actually would have spent if you got all of the things that that we look for. So the apartment that you look for, the furniture you look for, the car you look for, all of those things. So the first one is how much do we actually spend on rent, right? So let's look at our apartment search, right? It looks like this. You had three choices, and then you told me which one you wanted to live in, or you should have, right? So I decided I want to live on the Oak Grove Street, which is right here, which means the cost is $900. So that means I go back here, and in here I put $900. Okay, and I hit enter and it turns from yellow to white. Now, the other thing that's automatically happening is there is the spreadsheet is calculating the difference for me. So I am actually $300 on the plus side, okay? Because I budgeted for $1,200, but I only spent $900. So I have a positive amount of $300, okay? That's a good thing. If I spent more, so like let's say instead of $900, I spent $1,300, it's going to have a negative amount because I have spent more money than I planned for. Okay, so this is automatically happening. If you're doing this on paper, you are going to have to do this math on your own. Okay, and you're going to take this column, the adjusted budget, and you are going to subtract your actual spending. Okay, so you're going to take whatever it says in this column and subtract this column. So 1200 minus 1300 equals negative 100. Okay, but again, that's not what mine was. Mine was 900. All right. So now utilities. Everybody has $100 $130 in their actual spending for their utilities. Okay, we're going to estimate and just kind of generalize that that's how much people are going to be spending on things like electricity and water and that kind of stuff. But the things that are optional are to add cable or internet. Okay, so these two over here, you can decide if you want to add them. Now, I personally, I don't need cable. I don't have cable right now. I don't think it's necessary for my purposes. So I don't need cable, right? So I'm not buying that. But I am going to get internet because I like my streaming services. I like to be able to play on my computer online and all that kind of stuff. So I want to make sure that I have internet. So I'm going to put $30 in here for internet. Okay. And if you'll notice, we technically didn't plan for internet, so it is a negative 30, but that's okay because this is $20 less than I saved or that I planned for. So we should be okay. This is all kind of going to hopefully even out here at the end. That's our goal. All right. So now we're going to talk about our car loan. All right. So let's go to the car search. Okay. Remember we did this car search, right? And for me, my monthly payment was $307. Okay. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to put in 307. Okay. And I spent $7 more on my car than I had budgeted for. That's not too bad. Then, how much am I spending on gas? Well, that's on here too, if you remember the math that you did here. So mine's $66.19. I'm just going to round that up to 67 just to make things easier for me. I don't really want to mess with any of this kind of stuff, but because there are cents there, I am going to round it up, even though technically it would be rounded down. But I'm just going to go up to 67. And because we didn't technically plan for gas on our budget, that is going to be a negative number as well. Okay. Now for my car insurance, right here, I decided to go with Geico. So that's $132.54. Once again, I'm just going to round this up to 133, okay, so that we don't have to mess with the cents on it. It just makes our lives a whole lot easier. So 133, okay? And I spent $42 less than I had planned for. That's a good thing, okay? Now, for my cell phone, I am going to look at this slide on the slideshow that I have linked on Schoology, and I'm going to decide which of these plans that I want. Okay, everybody's just going to choose from these plans. It's going to make our lives easier so that you're not like searching for plans and stuff. And you can decide who you want. We have AT&T, we have T-Mobile, we have Verizon. So kind of a variety. I'm going to go with the T-Mobile Magenta Max, which costs $85. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pop in $85 right there. Okay, now for food, let's see how much I spent on food. We'll go to our menu planning and grocery shopping list. Okay, and this number right here, when we did the math, that's the number we're going to go with. And again, I'm going to round that up to 460 to make our lives easier. So we're going to go 460. All right, now for entertainment, we really didn't talk much about entertainment because it's hard to really know what you're going to do, you know, for fun once you get older and that kind of stuff. So we're still going to just kind of estimate how much we think we'd spend on entertainment. I think that I did a pretty good job of estimating how much I would spend and putting it into my adjusted budget. So I'm going to keep that $200. Okay, I'm just going to keep that the same. Now, for the occasional spending, this is where we have to pay off things like our credit card bills. Oh, remember your credit card bills? Guess what you bought on your credit card? You bought furniture and you bought clothes. Okay, so I spent $1,106.81 on my furniture, and I spent $394 on my clothes, for a total of $1,501. But the good thing about credit cards is you don't have to pay that all off at once, right? So I only have to pay this current amount due. So I'm going to pay $123.97. Again, I'm going to round it up to 124. Okay, so I'm going to put 124 in here. And then my school loan payment, that's something we didn't plan for, but it is something that we'll have to pay off. Because I got a bachelor's degree, which means I went to school for 4 years, I have to pay $140 every month to pay off my school loan. Okay, so I'm going to put in $140 there. Now, for my savings, I want you to put in what you think you're comfortable saving. Like if you're looking at this and you're like, I am spending way too much money. Maybe you only want to save $10 or whatever. Or maybe you're thinking, hey, I'm doing pretty good. I've got a lot of extra cash laying around. I'm going to save a lot of money. You decide, okay? I'm going to go with the 300 that I planned for, okay? And so now I have put in all of the things, everything on here that was yellow is no longer yellow. It's done all of the math for me. And the final difference is $359. Okay? It's green. That's a good thing. That means that I have $359 from my monthly income that I haven't yet spent. Okay? Which is good. If for some reason you have spent too much money, like let's say I really went all out on my housing. I got a really nice apartment and I spent $2,000 on that. Okay. Now, if you notice, this turned red. Okay. That means I have spent too much money. I have spent $741 over my monthly income. Okay. Now, I don't want you to go back and start fudging numbers and making things different and changing things. I want this to be exactly what you feel is, what you looked for in all of your assignments and all of that stuff. I want it to be exactly the way that it is. If you've spent too much money, that's fine. Okay? That's a learning experience. We can figure out how to adjust things. And guess what? That's what happens down here. So based on your final difference, based on this number right here, do you have enough money to buy all the things you needed to buy? Okay? That's just a yes or no question. You go here and you say, yes, I did. Okay? Now it's no longer yellow. If you didn't have enough money, what would you cut back on? Okay, so if this number right here is red, what are you going to cut back on? If this number is green, what would you spend more on? Okay, where would you spend more money? Would you put more in savings? Would you spend more on your loan payment or your credit card bills? Would you maybe get a nicer car? Would you maybe get a nicer apartment? Where would you spend that money? What would you do differently? Okay. And then the last three questions are just kind of fun for me. Hopefully they're fun for you. What was your favorite part of the class this year? What was your least favorite part of the class this year? Okay, and then do you have any advice for myself or my future students having taken my class? What would you tell future students to keep in mind when they take my class? All right, so that is the final summative. Okay, it is just that stinking easy. All right, have fun.